I stay with the heat even though I'm a sad boy. You better watch the way you breathe around me for that breath be your last boy. I've been drinking red, boy. I've been chopping down these birds, McCoy. No, I bet my rich in really 9 months. Overseas, honey skin.
On a dark night, much like it has been every night, the smell of death and fear spreads, and overseeing it all watches Yuji Uchiha in his Susanoo. All curses once present in Shibuya are now gone and have stopped going to it because Kenjaku will not risk being tracked down and killed before his plans are finished. Yuji watches over everything like usual when down below he sees someone. His Susanoo is dispelled as he begins to freefall until he lands ever so gracefully, barely making a sound, and he once again faces Choso. You here to try and kill me again? I need to return to the shelter soon. I want to ask for your help. This surprises Yuji, who says he finds that hard to believe. Aren't you with the curses? I'm not with anyone. I want my brothers and sisters back. And I was used. Kenjaku never told me of dispatching my siblings. He tricked me. I'm sorry. I don't need your pity. Will you help me commit patricide? Yuji Uchiha. Patrick? He's your dad? This just gets worse and worse. But yeah, anything to kill that fucker, I'm game. Follow me. I'm not going to your school. It'll be fine. If I really wanted to hurt you, I would have done it back then. You and your brothers deserve justice. It's the way I think. Wait a minute. Looking up, Yuji sees Naoya Zenin appear atop a bridge and Choso instantly gets on guard. Megumi isn't here. Yuji Uchiha. He jumps off the bridge and lands. And not gonna run or anything? The rules of Jujutsu Society no longer mean anything to me. If you think I'm gonna run from you, you're dreaming. Getting into a little battle stance, Naoya says, "So, you have an outrageous fight and you think you're hot shit now, huh?" In a flash, he disappears, appearing between the two with a swing as he taps Yuji. "Never run your mouth around me. You should have." While he's still going at insane speeds, reaching into subsonic, Yuji turns faster than he moved and strikes him, sending him flying as he slams through a building. Did he get even stronger after facing me? I heard he fought Sukuna. The fact that he's still alive means something, thought Choso. Yuji then begins to walk off, and Choso asks him where he's going. The boy turns around and is confused. What do you mean? Aren't you gonna finish him off? He already is. The wound painting is left stupefied, but indeed, Naoya Zenin with that one blow is dead. Yuji's physical strength with an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which is the first of its kind in this world, grants him the same physical strength which Madara possessed, the same strength that allowed him to defeat tailed beasts, the strength that surpasses even Sakura. And along with this, his durability can handle damn near anything now. So you're late, said Maki. Yuji enters the basement where he finds Maki, Yuki, along with them are Megumi, Kugisaki, Panda, Toge, Yuta, and everyone else who's part of the group. Maki then shouted, "What the hell is he doing here?" "It's fine, he's working with us now." "Alright then," said Yuki. She stands asking what Yuji's plan was to get them to the Star Tomb. "You follow my eyes. Come on." They follow him back up the steps and they reach a door. Yuji opens it and they find a forest below them. It resides inside a black room which Yuji jumps down to and the others follow. After a bit of walking, they would then reach an elevator, but on the way, Choso stops looking to a hangar nearby. "Just wait for me. I'll return," he said. The hangar contained his siblings, so to be so close yet so far away, it hurt him, but he had to kill their father first. After taking the elevator, they then make their way through a hall and reach the Star Tomb left ruined by previous battles. "What happened here?" asked Yuta. "Nothing that concerns us," Yuki said. 11 years ago, though. I'm pretty sure that's when it all started to get distorted. They're all left confused by these words, but it isn't their current primary issue. Then as they reach down to the houses below and walk through, they enter a gate, but see nothing. They enter a void of white, and it leaves Yuki pissed, while everyone wonders what's going on, and she says that Tengen is rejecting them. "That might be true, but Tengen is here," said Yuji. As he turns to his left, Yuji then asks that he show himself, and there's a pause. Then a crack shows from which Tengen walks out. "It's a pleasure to meet you, child of the Uchiha, children of Zenin, which is on his descendant, death painting womb." Welcome. And I'm gonna say hello to me, Tengen? Asked Yuki. Wait, this guy's really Tengen? He looks like a curse. This isn't the first time we met, Yuki Tsukumo. I recognize you. Then why'd you close off the shrine? I was afraid you'd be aligned with Kenjaku, but it seems not. I cannot peer into the human heart after all. Who's Kenjaku? Asked Yuki. Tengen then describes him as the being inhabiting Suguru Geto's body right now, but Yuji's more interested in why he looks the way he does. An effect of your technique? Ah, indeed, I may be immortal, but I'm not immune to aging. Due to my mishap with not getting a vessel, I began to evolve, and I became one with the world. That's why your voice didn't change, said Yuki. Tengen also mentions that she's actually a woman, which is pretty surprising, because she also asked him to call her grandma later on in the series. Anyway, it's a weird thing. They then cut to the chase. Mostly, Megumi has to, hurry up because his sister is in danger of being forced into the Culling Game. So they want to know how to open the prison realm in their possession. Tengen agrees to tell them on condition that Yuta, Yuki, Choso stay as his guards, her guards, because she will need protection from Kenjaku. What do you... Oh, said Yuji. You're susceptible to curse manipulation, huh? Gasps would then fill the empty room as Panda asks if this is true. What would he even want with you? Asked Kugisaki. The same reason he started the Culling Games. He wants forced evolution, using all citizens in Japan. He lacks cursed energy to do so using me, who has control of all barriers in Japan, will result in unimaginable horror. In the past, he's tried such similar things. Me, the Six Eyes, and the Star Plasma Vessels are connected by fate. He once killed the Star Plasma Vessel and his Six Eyes user in less than a month after being born, mind you. Holy shit, seriously? He's willing to go that far, yes, but it didn't work, said Tengen. A new Six Eyes user and Plasma Vessel were born and kept their promise. A few years ago, however, Toji Zenin broke that chain of fate. Then came along a boy with cursed manipulation. It's a huge chain of circumstantial bullshit, said Yuji. Regardless, we have no choice but to join and change the game from the inside. No matter how hard I study it, I can't unseal this box. He brings out the front of the prison realm, and Megumi is reminded of how much is on the line, and they need to move fast. Yuki and Choso decide to stay. Choso wants to spend time with his family, and Yuki because she wanted to talk to Tengen a little longer. They have a little bit of history. And upon deciding who's staying, Tengen brings out the back of the prison realm, which he hands to Yuji. He also gives hope that there is one player who could free Satoru Gojo immediately. Hana Kurusu, aka the Angel. Her technique can extinguish any other one. With things set in motion, everyone derives different roles for themselves. Maki heads to the Zenin clan to get weapons because Nabito did end up dying, so Megumi is now the head of the Zenin clan due to a deal that, Toji made with him. The job of Yuji, meanwhile, is to meet Hakari, and in this timeline, he's going alone. He's definitely an interesting person, Yuji remarked. Yuji stands atop the roof of Kenji's gambling operation, an abandoned building in a multi-story place in Tochigi Prefecture. The boy then takes notice of a technique applied to the door behind which Hakari is in with the actual user that actually casted this. Most who approach the door would never reach it because it kind of creates like an infinite space in a way. But Yuji would begin to walk, and with every step, soon he begins to almost mellow into the air. But he gets closer and closer, though it shouldn't be possible for him to do so. He reaches to grab the knob when the door is then busted open. He dodges a kick from Kenji Hakari, and out is thrown a coin. Yuji notices a marking on it. It has the name of a star. Oh, I get it. He begins to weave while jumping back, and Kenji continues to attack, asking who he is. Yuji Uchiha from Jujutsu Tech, first year. As he stops his attacks, out walks Kirara. Oh, he's that guy, the new special grade. That doesn't matter. I came here for your help. Gojo Sensei's been sealed. Don't believe you. Like, just how? Why would I believe you? Don't care if you don't. I'll drag you if I have to. I was told you're very stubborn and a pain in the ass. If you're really from Jujutsu Tech, you must have heard that from Maki. With a swing of his hand, Hakari summons doors that slam into Yuji, but they phase through him much to his shock. Listen to me. Gojo Sensei really was sealed, and a lot of people are dying. I don't have time for this. The doors disappear, and Kirara and Kenji realize that this technique might be too much to handle, and fighting it out may end up in disaster. They can now feel how dangerous he is, and he's not even trying. Just then, Yuji reaches into his pocket and holds up a phone, which goes into FaceTime, popping up Yuta. Oh, there he is. Okotsu? Yeah, it's me. Whatever Yuji told you, I swear, it's not a joke. Gojo was really sealed, huh? Yep, and we really need you to help out. In exchange, Fushiguro will give you some money. He's the head of the Zenin clan. And a close friend to Yuji. Hakari's eyes brighten hearing this as he begins to smirk. I'm listening. With the Culling Games in motion, Kenjaku graciously takes out normal people, like for example those in Sendai. He's actually letting them live. Gracious is bullshit because he just wants to get rid of those who will get in the way of people actually killing each other for real, and those that he's randomly selected to actually participate who are still normal civilians. So it's kind of like a saving grace, but not really because people are still gonna die. Hi, I'm Kogane. Once you enter the Veil, you will join the Culling Game deathmatch. Yuji and Megumi approach the Sendai colony and they are asked if they wish to join, which they of course say yes to, and they enter. Huh? As he looks down, Yuji finds himself falling. What new players do not know is that there's an amount of 9 predetermined locations that all players are randomly sent to, and usually they're sent flying from the sky. As he begins to fall though, Yuji is just gathering his thoughts when he sees someone down below waving a traffic wand, and from nowhere a sorcerer speeds into him only for Yuji to smack down their head and flip over her. What? She's going at speeds of a damn near fighter jet, and yet Yuji evaded her as if she were a child. And after this, he would land on a skyscraper and begin to walk off casually, and it leaves her with a building vein across her face. That little darling, we gotta meet up and kill this guy. As he walks off the roof, Yuji jumps off and begins to fall again when he then sighs, sensing 2 people heading for him. The woman and her boyfriend would try to attack, and her man has helicopter blades for hair, however. Die, you bastard! As they crash into him, they then feel something shatter. They look up and find Yuji is unhurt, and he sends them both flying with punches to their heads. Their brains literally get blown out from the extreme force, which leaves Yuji annoyed as he has blood on his hands. And from afar, the one who he had been noticing waving the traffic wand sees and recognizes him. Uchiha? They went to the same school for a while, by the way, if y'all haven't read the manga yet. Megumi himself was ambushed by this bizarre girl who keeps asking for protection. And you're really not an ancient sorcerer? Do I look ancient to you? They can steal bodies. I'm not trusting anything. Look, it's been 12 days, okay? Everyone's been fighting for life and death. It's kill or be killed here. Alright then, about time you tell me where we're headed. Hell no, you might just kill me after I do. And stop calling me you. I have a name. That's basic vocabulary, you idiot. I don't... Take me to where I want to go. Fine. Higuruma's at Shinjuku. Follow me. A bat? Is that a bathtub? As Yuji enters a theater, he had been led there by Imai, who was the one who was, waving the traffic wand, who of course recognized him. And so, when he entered on the stage of the theater, he found a man in a tub and slowly approached. But suddenly, Higuruma jumped out of the tub. He's not too shabby, thought Yuji. So you're Higuruma. That's right. Who are you? Kogane then shows up, showing Yuji's name and that he has 10 points, and he hasn't been in that long. Yuji then says he and his friends want to end the Culling Games, and to that he wants Higuruma's points because he has many of them. Alright? But I refuse. It doesn't matter if you do. Give me the points. As his eyes flash into their eternal form, Higuruma instinctively closes his eyes as if falling asleep, and when he slowly opens them, Yuji is walking away for some reason. But what did... Higuruma has given 100 points to Yuji Uchiha. You fucking... Raising his gavel, Higuruma raises his domain expansion, and behind him appears the Shikigami, Judge Man. Go to sleep. As he says this, the activation of the domain stops and the sorcerer begins to fall, thus to his face, as his Shikigami simply floats there. It's a type that doesn't allow for violence, and Yuji did not injure his host in any way. Everything they needed was now in their hands, and as he walks out to meet Imai, his Kukane explodes, shouting a new rule that has been added that sorcerers can share points with others. A new rule. You know this guy? Asked Reggie, as he now has Megumi cornered, and Megumi shows annoyance. Behind him is Remy, the same girl that he met earlier, who smirks. Don't even think about it. Reggie's way too... Shut up already. This is a waste of time. Yuji. Yeah, I know. Just then from above they all see Yuji hanging upside down, and before they can even move, they black out. When they slowly open their eyes, they're on the floor and see Yuji and Megumi jump off the balcony, and they stand. Their Kohane then announces that their points were given to Megumi, which gave Megumi 100 points. And as they land, Yuji said, "Alright, let's move quick." And so they begin to run for the edge of the colony, and the others tried to chase after them, but it didn't matter. Their work here was done. But while they were also running, descending towards them, there seemed to be an angel that arrives on the scene. Very bizarre. "Is your name by any chance Hana Kurusu?" The flying woman who is looking for someone to help turns and sees them. "Oh yeah, Megumi?" As she mumbles this, the boy then simply looks at her suspiciously, when she then lands and tells them that she is indeed Hana Kurusu. "If you guys need it, I know a place where you can stay for a while." "Fushiguro, you go. I'm gonna check in on everybody." Taking out a kunai from his pocket, he holds it forward and instantly disappears as he appears right beside Yuta while he is amidst his battle with Uro and Ryu. His senpai even has Rika out, as a matter of fact. "Oh, and who's this?" asked Ryu. "You caught me at a bad time, Yuji," said Yuta. Uro, who cares not about this new enemy, flies forward and appears right before Yuta with a kick when the Susanoo ribcage is then erected, and she feels the bones in her foot shatter. Ugh! She obviously struck it and is then sent flying by a hit from the Susanoo arm, as Yuji then flies after her, saying that he'll handle Uro. The female sorcerer then finally manages to stop herself, shouting, "Get out of the way! The Fujiwara is gonna pay!" She strikes the air, sending cracks through it towards the boy, who disappears, appearing right above her, with his ribcage disappearing. Yuta senpai is a descendant of Sugawara and Michizane. Sorry. He drop kicks her when she then grabs the surface of the air and makes his leg miss and kind of deforms it before she then cracks the surface of air again, striking Yuji right in the chest and pushing him back, where he releases a flaming blade that extends past the speed of sound, severing her arm. "You bastard! Wait. Those eyes." As Yuji comes to a stop, he covers himself with the arm of his Susanoo once again, and he analyzes and figures out her technique damn near instantly. "You're an Uchiha, aren't you? You chose a pretty young body." "I'm not one of you bastards. I'm the last of the Uchiha. Modern age." This truly shocks her, as their clan died out long ago, but she just healed her arm and grabs a hold of space as she begins to spin, beginning to convert space before then letting it go, releasing it back at Yuji, who should be damaged internally, but this attack passes through him like nothing. "Huh? How did you... Why are you doing this?" asked Yuji. "What? Why are you fighting? Why come all this way just to get killed again? Being cheeky, are you? Bastards like you wouldn't understand. I think you're wrong. I don't care what you think." She grabs and swings around the air to strike him over and over until she uses her thin icebreaker, which hits and sends Yuji crashing down, but he catches himself with his wings. "Did you come back to be acknowledged or to be the strongest? What's the difference?" In a flash, Yuji appears behind her, holding his blade at her throat. One holds a life of happiness and another is nothing but hollowness. "He's playing with me," thought Uro. As he pulls back his blade, Yuji then weaves her strikes and over again just keeps telling her to just stop this. Being strong and being acknowledged isn't the same. Find a boyfriend, a family, or go get killed by Sukuna if you care so little about your own life. But the latter is not worth it. As she swings again, Uro strikes a box which appears out of nowhere. It then begins to pull her in aggressively. "Ah, you fucking..." "This is what you wanted, isn't it?" As she freezes and looks in Yuji's eyes, she can tell what he's thinking, what he's trying to tell her right now. You fought someone strong and lost. You should have found something else within you to nurture. Think about it a little bit, or you're locked away. She's then sealed. She doesn't even fight back, and the box falls in Yuji's hands. Kenjaku, you dumbass. Meanwhile, Megumi had followed the angel to the place that she wanted to take him, and a certain man by the name of Takaba, who calls himself a comedian, went with them to the hotel. It surprisingly had power, and it's where Hana had been staying for a while. "Yeah, the cursed spirits don't attack the buildings here," said Hana. "You can just relax." She takes a seat and gestures for them to do the same, when suddenly Yuji appears behind Fushiguro. "Oh, nice new digs." As he lands, Takaba then freaks out. "Whoa, people can teleport? That'd make for an awesome gag." "I'm sure it would be. Who is this?" "An ally," said Megumi. He agreed to share his points. Oh, thank you, sir." No need. She said she didn't mind either. As he points to the angel, at that moment, a mouth pops up on the side of her face, and it says, only for something in return, of course. Quickly covering this up with a nervous smile, Hana attempts to say that was nothing, and to obviously ignore that, but the mouth then shows up on her hand. Stop doing that, would you? As I was saying, we gave those points in exchange for one thing, to defeat the Fallen One. Fallen? She means Sukuna, said Megumi. Okay, sure. Just like that, asked Hana. Isn't he like super strong? Like the strongest? I don't really care. It's not ego. I'm doing it because I have to. Because my friends need it. To be young, said Tagaba. That's the spirit. What's your name? Yuji. Call me Yuji. Don't worry. I'll kill Sukuna for you. Though Megumi is happy to hear about how dedicated Yuji is, he's worried about the lengths that he will go because Yuji is that kind of person. 2 days then pass, and through these 2 days, the group gathered more points till they had around 400, and Kenjaku meanwhile got involved with politics, more so than he already had before. Using world leaders as his pawns, he had been sending out soldiers to capture sorcerers under the ruse that they could use cursed energy as a new form of energy for the world, but it was only for them to face the curses that he had planted and build up more fear so that he can power his game more. Coincidentally, however, they end up getting saved by our group, and they didn't want to fight at first, but honestly, it was very clear that they were pawns, so of course they helped them, even though they were trying to literally subject them to like horrible experiments. They were just like being used. They didn't know what the hell was going on. They're clueless. Is that the last of them? Shouts Takaba to the flying Hana. Should be. Why do you ask? It's not much trouble. Because Uchiha left and he seemed nervous. Horrible timing, said Kenjaku. In Tengen's void, he faces not Choso or Yuki or Tengen herself, I keep forgetting that, but Yuji Uchiha, who for the sake of the story I will title myself as the Lone Warrior, since literally everyone has like a nickname of sorts. Urume is the Frozen Star, things like that. And as he stretches, Yuji asks Kenjaku what he's been wanting to this entire time. Why are you doing any of this? Don't you feel happy when you consume a meal, Uchiha? Sure I do. Don't you feel happy when you get to live another day? What are you on about? The power of life and what it can offer, what we can make it offer. It fascinates me. It is my purpose. Much like you say without thinking, I tinker. Though he acts calm, however, Kenjaku is in a nervous sweat and Yuji knows but ignores it because what he's always been taught is that no enemy should ever be underestimated. Thanks for making this so much easier. From a separate space, Choso, Yuki, and Tengen watch through a screen and for some reason are on edge. He'll be fine, right? He faced Sukuna. He will be, right? asked Choso. I don't know what power Sukuna was at, so I couldn't tell you, Tengen states, but I choose to believe this will be the end. In a flash, Yuji's hands is then found in Kenjaku's face, who is then slammed to the floor. Quickly, centipede-like curses explode toward Yuji, and they pass through him, however, as he lets go of Kenjaku and dissipates and just displaces his point in space completely. He basically teleports. I'm just trying to be fancy here. He appears right behind the man, who quickly moves away, firing a Uzumaki, which as it nears Yuji, suddenly is stopped by an invisible force and is reflected back at the user tenfold in speed. Kenjaku is enveloped and badly injured as he couldn't even dodge, and he was confused. I'm a physical type, but honestly, you're not worth the taijutsu, and I'm getting this over with, said Yuji. Kenjaku, enveloped in smoke, is then revealed to have already healed, and the curious sorcerer then asks, how are you doing such a thing? Holding his hand forward, Yuji makes a fist as Kenjaku begins to gag. He falls forward, barely catching himself. From his body begins to seep out these massive black shards, the same ones which reside in Yuji's domain, well, the base level of his domain. Why? Every Uchiha is born with the Sharingan embedded in our sockets. All jutsus we use are a byproduct of this dojutsu. However, it is not the only technique we possess. I am the first in 1,000 years to show you the true technique of my clan, Izanagi. Yuji can make things share space with one another. So, it's nothing complicated like you're thinking. He simply made Kenjaku forcefully share a space in a genjutsu. He has trapped the sorcerer in a limbo as he cannot break from what he will experience. He currently exists in an imaginary space in which anything is possible. There is a range, but as Kenjaku now lies with his life snuffed out, his head is crushed in by Yuji's foot. I didn't kill you before because I was worried about all the curses, but the space in which they reside will soon be snuffed out. A massive veil of shadows begin to slowly release a bunch of remaining curses still in his arsenal, and the ancient sorcerer has obviously planned for this to make like a kamikaze attack, but though they seek to escape, they are forcefully put to share space with the same genjutsu that Kenjaku was just forced to deal with, and are each exercised in an instant by the same shards exploding from them. Also, if you're confused as to why Kenjaku's attack backfired or just of the genjutsu or power in total to share space, I'll explain it to you. It's because the attack literally shouldn't have even been possible to fire, at least theoretically. He shares the space with genjutsus, Yuji's genjutsu specifically, but Yuji's genjutsu is like a domain. Attacking Yuji is the same as attacking his own brain in that sense, because the genjutsus connect to your brain. It's trying to, psychologically mess with you. The damage is just shown on his body, as that is the only way he was forced to perceive it to keep his sanity, because the way he was being fucked with honestly would have just made him lose his shit. He re-healed his brain temporarily, and that was it, but it wasn't gonna last long. Yeah, I've reached gay levels of power explanation, haven't I? Yeah, this series is literally just changing my brain. To make it easier for you though, think of this. Yuji's domain is just an expansion of his genjutsu ability brought to life. It also distorts space like his genjutsus can. So he applied that to Kenjaku and kept him trapped in a world of his own torture. But he did it more creatively. Kenjaku is, after all, a human in a way. Unlike Mahito, who was all about the soul, he didn't expose his. So the same method wouldn't work like it did for Mahito. That's why Mahito got killed off so easily. But Kenjaku is dead, however. But regardless, the Culling Games will still exist because he wasn't the game master of it. It was the bounty vow that he made to keep it going over and over. Yuki and the others then enter the space at that point and take notice of Yuji's bleeding nose, and Tengen asks if he's okay. He wipes up the blood and heals his brain. I'll be fine. I've just never used my new technique in this way before. It's also, just a very dumb way to experiment, but what choice did I have? Speaking of, your fight was bizarre. Every time you each moved, it was as if you were fading into air, glitching, and sometimes you disappeared, and it was just bizarre, said Choso. Don't think about it too much, you might get a nosebleed. You're funny. Alright, let's save Sumiki, said Yuji. Oh, before that, taking out a scroll, he unseals from it the box holding Uro, who he then pulls out as she lands, skidding backward. Should she really be here, asked Yuki, considering her technique. No, she's now an ally. As she stands straight, Uro then scoffs, saying, for now. The three look on surprised as Tengen asked if he tortured her. What? No! We had a talk. Jeez. Time skip. In a part of Jujutsu Tech, we see gathered all of our favorite students and even some from Tokyo, who would be Todo, Miwa, everyone. But it has been quite a lot since the chaos has begun. So this is the first time they could actually gather and discuss things, and they get back on somewhat of a certain sense of normalcy. Hey, speaking of, what should we do for Gojo Sensei when he comes back, asked Kugisaki? You know what? How about a massive banner that says, everything is great. It's better than telling the truth, said Takaba. We all managed pretty well, said Yuji. Could be worse. Is Hana ready, Sensei? As he looks to Shoko, she approaches and says yes. Let's bring back that idiot. Moments later, at the 4th training ground, which is made up of mostly rock, everyone hides behind some stacked sandbags. Meanwhile, Takaba runs out, setting down the prison realm, the back of it, and he then ran back to hide as well. And Hana from above awaits a signal. With the megaphone, Inumaki then gives the, shout to go, and she fires and finally uses her Jacob's ladder. This bright light drops forth incredible force from the heavens, giving off a slightly blinding glow until it fades. Quickly, everyone then just runs forward to gather around, but they find nothing. Did it fail? Asked Maki. No, it worked. The back of the prison room is exactly what it is. It's just a back. In a way, it was kind of like a misdirect, and if it's gone, then it's done acting as a seal. So the other one, just then the ground begins to quake, everything begins to rumble, and everyone buckles as Megumi with the nervous sweat says, yeah, he's back, isn't he? Really back. From deep under the depths of like 8,000 meters of the Japanese trench, Satoru Gojo has returned, and along the way he met a few curses set in place by Kenjaku, who had become feral since their owner was gone. But he stands alone, at least for a while when he resurfaced, until he appears before him. I thought I'd have a bigger audience, Yuji. You definitely grown a bit, huh? Oh yeah, I grew my hair out, painted my nails black, so there's that. As the two laugh, they approach and give each other a hug. Satoru Gojo has returned, and just then the two will then turn and find before them the fully realized King of Curses, his arms stretched out and show his happiness at once again facing Yuji Uchiha. Huh, he really came back, said Gojo. I really missed too much. Sensei, I'm gonna fight him. I have a deal to uphold. Don't tell me you... No, it's not a binding vow. But he's here for me anyway. Isn't that right? 19 days from now. Meet me at Shinjuku. Alright. I'll exercise you for real this time. You sure you can win? Asked Gojo. I don't know, but I do know I won't lose. Before I'm a sorcerer, I'm a shinobi. That means fulfilling my mission by any means necessary. With the date set, it will be soon time for Yuji to face Sukuna. So Gojo returned, but though it was good, they had planned on having him fight Sukuna first anyway. So he fought Gojo every single day instead to train for Sukuna. The result of these matches will stay ambiguous till the day Yuji actually goes to face the enemy. And so we're gonna go right to that because I'm not covering that shit. Appearing in Shinjuku, Yuji wears the attire of an Anbu and a mask. That mask has the face of a wolf, and at his back are two blades, the blades of Kusanagi, which he himself forged. A flock of crows are then seen flying around in a specific area, but each capture one thing, the appearance of Sukuna, and as he lands on a lamppost, he perches down forward with a smile. Are you not going to use your forearms? Asked Yuji. Sukuna then lands down, and he wears what he would have in the original when he fought Gojo instead, and of course he's not having the extra limbs out yet. Figured we could have a small warm-up first. That didn't come to play. As soon as he grabs a hold of one of his blades, he's then sliced through but turns into an afterimage as he appears before Sukuna with an upward swing, cutting his torso open. A simple domain container technique? Not bad, said Yuji. As he kicks the king, he's then sent tumbling and manages to barely stop himself, but the momentum takes him to the sky, where he's then met by a thrust and he blocks with his arm, which is then cut through and then shredded to pieces in an instant. I didn't come here for a dick measuring contest about who's the strongest. I don't care who you are, said Yuji. I don't care about how you judge me or how I judge you. I don't care about you, but I'll kill you for making my friends suffer. Try your best, kid. Just then he regenerates when we exit their point of view and enter that of Yuta's. He's getting destroyed, he said. Is there a reason Uchiha isn't using his technique? Asked Choso. It may be to create a binding vow, mentions Nanami. He's already physically just a monster, so he might as well not need to. Free falling close to a building, Yuji senses Sukuna on the other side, and he swings forward, meeting multiple cleaves stacked on top of one another. The building begins to crumble and blind him, but he maintains control. However, they just keep stacking and stacking, pushing him back more and more, until they converge into a single point. Spear him, commands the king, or as Yuji finds a massive hole in his stomach. Everyone gasps in horror as they already think that this looks pretty bad, but Gojo says to stop falling for this trick. It's an illusion clone. Again. Sukuna's spirit carves through the ground and continues to travel for miles until it exits Shinjuku, and Yuji fades into the air much to his surprise. He looks around, but then a tornado begins to form. It gathers all the rubble into his view and it begins to blind him, when Yuji then flies out past him, cleaving off his arm, and then it darts off another piece of rubble, comes back, leaving Sukuna soon trapped in an endless cycle as he's carved over and over until they both crash, much like the rubble around them. The tornado then comes to a stop, and the two push each other back and land. Yuji then sheathes his blades and holds both his hands forward as space around him begins to distort, much to everyone's surprise, and a massive grid then is flung Yuji's way, which then takes the form of that same spear. While holding his hand forward, Yuji grabs and is sent skating back with incredible force as he tries to hold off this attack. He caught it, thought Sukuna. What? I thought he said he could share space with things, said Yuki. No, he forces things to share space, said Gojo. Keep on here being forced. It's unnatural. He's not holding that thing. He's attached himself to it, and at the same time, he's not in contact. One wrong move and he'll kill himself and be ripped to pieces. Coming to a stop, however, Yuji throws aside the spear and leaves Sukuna truly shocked as the shinobi then heals his hands. Alright, you're not making this easy, Uchiha. With these words, Sukuna then enters his final form. He gains an immense amount of muscle, his cursed energy output increases to maximum, and he has a second mouth on his stomach and multiple hands which can now chant for him and make multiple hand signs. Slowly, they look at each other, they begin to circle around each other, and then they stop and then begin to weave signs until they both stop. But Yuji did it first and faster. A buildup of cursed energy explodes from both of them as Sukuna deploys a simple domain, but not a normal one. What, is he combining his technique into the simple domain, Kusagabe? Until then, like when Sukuna did it the first time and just fired like cleaves from everywhere, they didn't notice it, but now they do. And Gojo said he must have gotten the idea from Yuji. Then where's Yuji's attack? Another illusion clone on the way? Space then begins to destroy around Yuji once again, but then fire begins to spark off of him. Blood red flames, and he grows the body of Susanoo, Kagutsuchi. With the glare at this point, he sets Sukuna on fire, at which point he quickly activates domain amplification and blows it off, just as the spears then crash into where his adversary is. But already, Yuji appears before him and strikes him in the face before pulling out his Kusanagi blades and flashing past him. Sukuna now found himself separated from his bottom, and as he falls to the ground, he tries to regenerate and does manage to do so, but rolls as he avoids many attacks from Yuji until he stands. The only problem is that now he's naked and quite hurt regardless of him actually dodging those attacks. People might call you Curse King, but you're still human, so positive energy won't do much to you. I'll just keep staring into you until you die. Forcefully at that moment, Sukuna is then pulled forward as Yuji raises his blade, blocking a dismantle coming from behind without even looking. This stuns Sukuna, who stacks the attacks over and over, and he gets closer and closer, but Yuji blocks each and every one before thrusting and meeting the forms of Sukuna, and he melts through his very flesh and bones. Ryoiki Denkai. Forcing each other into a domain battle, everyone watches in suspense as they truly do not know what will happen, but the barrier was something bizarre. How is Yuji still outside? Shouts Kugisaki. They cannot comprehend how this is like possible at all, but currently inside me, while Yuji advances towards Sukuna, his cleaves dismantles do not affect him. Nothing works because it's all just passing through him. Kamui. As he utters these words with the gaze, Yuji warps Sukuna as the sorcerer begins to contort and then appears before Yuji, who swings with a crescent motion before dissipating his blade. How did you do it? Nothing much. I just did. The barrier disappears as if it had never existed, and the Yuji before Sukuna disappears with the true one walking into its place. There was no commentary on this from anyone watching because it's impossible. They don't know how to interpret it. At least it was until now. Yuji casted a domain without being in it and left a version of himself outside. How was that possible? Well, it's pretty simple. He forced his domain to share space with the sealed space he himself constructed, using his knowledge of barrier techniques that he copied from Tengen while he was waiting to kill Kenjaku. It's the same place he used to trap Uro, but this time he deployed it, and because the domain couldn't accept having no deployer inside, it created a virtual version which listens to and obeys the commands of Yuji, who stands outside completely safe. Listen to how I keep saying force, by the way. It's not natural. Much like the rules of Jujutsu itself, Yuji receives a lot of compensation for going out of bounds and creating risks for himself and bending the world. The world itself, as a result, tries to make sense of what should be impossible, which is why he could somehow touch and not touch and hold back Sukuna's attack and kept himself teetering on life and death. Releasing his binding of energy to his own body, Yuji is left drenched in sweat as Sukuna falls on his back, his torso once again severed from his waist and his legs as he gargles blood. Yes, I know this is really ironic. It's not on purpose. It just happened. I really don't care about this whole Gojo getting destroyed. I don't give a fuck. It just happened. What did you do to me? I should be able to heal. I mean, figure it out, King Curses. Since you take so much pride in that, your body will be burnt to cinders, and I'll leave no remainings of your existence. And as for the fear of bringing you back, everyone just saw me kill you, even if they still fear your strength. they'll be more afraid of me. And you're sure you can bear with that curse, Yuji Uchiha? I've been doing it all my life. Black flames at that moment then begin to run through Sukuna's body, and though he should be in indescribable agony, he's far more content than he's ever been. Yuji walks by him, taking notice of this. You're a sick man, Roman Sukuna. Even in death, I hope you find no rest. As he begins to make his way through the barren Shinjuku, Yuji sheathes his blades properly and redons his mask. He doesn't hear them, but he can feel his friends are happy. They're celebrating. I guess it's finally over. I want to take a nap. Sitting before an old man, a 10-year-old child looks on with a sense of fear, awe, and caution. Shisui, no need to be nervous. I'm just taking a nap, said Yuji. What am I supposed to think? You're so intimidating. With a chuckle, Yuji stood as he bore a kimono and said as he opened the door to his clan compound, Yeah, I have that effect on people, don't I? You look so proud of it. Come on, get up. Follow me. The child, now excited, stands and follows him out as they make their way past the garden and then a massive koi pond, taking a bridge over it, walking on the bridge towards a forest of bamboo. Why are we here? Well, it was a nice stroll, wasn't it? Also, I wanted to show you something. An ultimate jutsu of yours? Yes, finally! As he made the sign of the board, Yuji thought of not only Shisui but the two daughters he had, twins, both currently sleeping in the arms of Yuko. He thought of his friends having led good lives and even gotten married themselves, of those who are now dead and those who are still living. In seconds, he then weaves multiple signs and says, You might not be able to use it the same way I can, but that's not the point. Punching forward, he releases not waves of flame, but a pulse of heat which raises half of the forest to nothing in instants, which left Shisui wide-eyed. Awesome! But Mom is gonna kill you. Not if you fix it. What am I, an attendant? As he clapped his hands together, he slammed into the floor and uses the other bamboos as a source and duplicated them as he slowly remakes the forest using his wood release. This is something that he has inherited from his father, and it's his curse technique. He's getting better. Well, no need to worry about that, right? Oh. He gets a phone call and takes out his phone from one of his pockets, saying, Hello. Why did you put pockets in? Asked Shisui. There's no pockets in kimonos. Put it in yesterday. Hey, Kugisaki. Yeah, you should come over. Let's catch up. As he continued his call, Shisui played around, twisting the bamboo until his father put away his device and looked on nervous at the display before him. Now she's gonna kill you. Whatever. What was I supposed to learn from that anyway? To never limit yourself on what you think you can do. That jutsu, by the records of your great-grandfather, should be impossible. We can always do more. Never forget that. Can I go play now? Sure thing. As he ran off, Shisui soon, however, stopped and turned. I won't forget. Promise. And that is the end of this wonderful, sad, chaotic story. But again, didn't know how to end this, as Gege's style of writing really pisses me off. I mean, I love the man, but God, he just cannot stop making chaos. Every single chapter just has you turning your head like, what the hell did I just read? But I love it. Regardless, if it doesn't end, I don't know how to end it either. So I'm just going to do my best. And I thought a sweet ending like this was better. Yuji got a family now, you know, rebuilding the clan. Also, if you don't remember who the Yuko, the girl was, that's the girl that came and tried to like get with Yuji during that one little filler, not filler, but like that slice of life moment, you know, the tall girl who lost a lot of weight. But yeah, that is the end. And yeah, see y'all. Peace. I'm gone. Stay on standby for the Gilgamesh one.